Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams, and this morning our focus is on politics. The spring election's coming up on Tuesday, April 4th, and a couple of things on the ballot. 8 candidates are vying for 4 MPS Board of Director seats. An advisory referendum will ask Milwaukee County voters if they support a $60 county wheel tax to help pay for bus service, as well as road and bridge repairs. And then there's the race for Municipal Judge Branch 1 for Milwaukee. It's a privilege to have both candidates for judge here today. My first guest was elected to the bench in the city of Milwaukee in April 2004. She's a graduate of The Ohio State University and the University of Akron School of Law. Judge Valarie Hill is a former public defender and circuit court commissioner, and I'm pleased to welcome her to Our Issues Milwaukee. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And as I mentioned, you were elected to the bench 13 years ago. Why is it important for you to be able to continue the work that you've done up to this point?
It has been an honor and a privilege to serve the citizens of Milwaukee. I think we're making some great strides on improving the efficiencies and the justice system that happens at Milwaukee Municipal Court. The 2 colleagues that I work with, we get along really well, so it's been a fabulous opportunity when you have 3 like-minded individuals to make some changes that are positive for the community at Milwaukee Municipal Court.
Yeah, and we'll talk about some of those things that you, the 3 of you have worked on a little later in this segment. But the jurisdiction of the Municipal Court includes general misdemeanor criminal cases, traffic violations, domestic violence, slumlords, DUIs, I'm guessing you name it, right?
Except we don't do misdemeanor or criminal cases.
Okay.
Everything at Milwaukee Municipal Court is non-criminal. It is civil, municipal ordinance violations, but the whole range of everything, as you just said, except for the criminal stuff.
Okay, and if you would describe a situation where you've had to support a legal position that actually conflicted with your personal beliefs, especially dealing with any of those things I've mentioned.
The thing probably that troubles me the most in the city of Milwaukee is building and zoning code cases with regard to senior citizens who live in their own homes. And so, you know, neighborhood services is just doing their job. I don't have a problem with that. But I think the city could be better at trying to find resources to help senior citizens who are in their own homes fix up some of the problems, particularly because most of them are not safety related. So you're talking about stuff like painting, house numbers, things that if there were more available resources, we could avoid some of the people who are senior citizens being in the court on those issues.
Makes a lot of sense. And you see a long list of people on
do.
a daily basis and these people come from all walks of life, needless to say. When warranted, do you favor community service work in lieu of paying fines? What are your stands?
Absolutely. Anybody who cannot afford to pay their fine only needs to appear in court and say to a judge that I don't have the ability to pay this fine, and we do have options that are available to you, and not just community service. So if you have mental health issues, we have a program we can refer you to for that. If you have substance abuse issues, we can refer you to something for that. I also try to be a little creative and innovative in my approach, depending on what's going on. So for instance, I have a young man who's currently putting together a business plan for me on his way to college. So I find that to be far more useful and beneficial to both the public and the defendant who appears in front of me. I also utilize job search so that I have individuals go and try to find employment. So there's a wide range of things that people can do. If you don't have the ability to pay, nobody's forcing you to pay, but you do have to come to court so that we know that.
Okay, and you talked about making the courtroom more efficient. So that's something that you guys have worked on during the time that you've been on the bench. So how do you go about getting people in and out?
Well, the first thing is to start on time. Court starts at 8:30. My doors are open at 8:30. The other thing that we have done, and this was something that I championed, was we revamped the calendaring process at the court so that every judge has the exact same calendar, but that there are weeks that you are responsible for certain things, so that a defendant who comes in can go to one particular branch regardless of where the case is assigned, and take care of all of their business. That allows people to move through the system a lot quicker. The other thing we've done since I've been there is we've become an electronic court. An electronic court makes the process a lot faster for everybody.
Okay, good stuff. And here's the thing, when you talk about being in a race for political office, you have people that you run against who have opinions of each other, and sometimes it's not the nicest things that people say, but I wanted to talk about this in particular. During one of former First Lady Michelle Obama's final interviews, she sat down with Oprah Winfrey, and they discussed the angry black woman label that Michelle Obama was tagged with by some people when her husband was first running for office. And she said it's an insulting description that exposed, quote, deep-seated fears pervading American society. And you ran against 3 men during the primary election, and they didn't necessarily come out and say that you were angry or rude, but that was insinuated. So with that, what do you have to say to people who think that they've come through your courtroom? Everybody knows you're no nonsense, but that does not mean you're angry. So talk about that.
You know, I'm candid, I'm direct, I'm firm, and I'm fair. Those are qualities that in the broader community are respected and valued. It's an interesting process when those qualities are used and viewed in a negative light, but not anything that I focus on. I am my authentic self. And again, candid, direct, firm, fair. You come into my courtroom, you will be treated with dignity, you'll be treated with respect, and you'll leave there having had a fair shot.
Yes, and you are a member of the National Association of Women Judges.
I am.
And do you believe that there is an underrepresentation of women, specifically women of color, in the court system?
Absolutely. This is the year 2017, and you can count on one hand and a few fingers the number of African American women judges in this state. And I have the distinction of being the first woman of any race elected to Milwaukee Municipal Court. And if you look at the citywide offices that are available in the city of Milwaukee, I'm the only woman that's ever been elected to any of the citywide offices, and the city's 170 plus years old.
Wow.
So there's a lot of gender diversity that certainly needs to occur in the state of Wisconsin, and in particular the city of Milwaukee.
And you're a member of several other professional and community service organizations. Talk about some of the work that you do outside of the courtroom.
Well, let's start with tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm very excited about. I am going to be going to Seaford Elementary School, and we're playing board games with the kids. So if you're a first grader at Seaford Elementary School, I'm sorry, but I am going to have to.
You're not going to let anybody win.
I just don't know, if I can let the first grader win. But no, so it's an event I'm looking forward to. Judge Mosley and I, if you will recall, did a reading challenge.
You both came here to talk about it. Yes, I remember.
And he got the men to show up and read to some kids, and I got the women to show up and read to some kids. And so that was a fabulous day as well. But I do a little bit of everything from playground revitalization to I've installed fire alarms, or smoke alarms, excuse me, in homes. I've worked at one point for Habitat for Humanity. I've done some Red Cross work, some American Cancer Society stuff. So it's a full range of community service activity.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You talk about, you spoke earlier about liking the other judges who are on the bench, and you guys being able to really come together to help make a difference in areas that you see needed. And one thing that you guys did, and this was your brainchild, if I'm correct, in an effort for kids not to miss school, you set up court in 3 Milwaukee high schools.
Yes.
Yeah. Talk about that effort and why it was important for you guys to go to the schools as opposed to have the kids come to court.
Well, one of the interesting things about kids that have tickets is if they come to court, they end up missing oftentimes a half day of school and sometimes a full day of school to accomplish that. So it made sense to me that it would be better for the kids if all they had to do was to step out of a classroom and then step back in. So you step out, you handle your court business, then you go right back to court. 10, 15 minutes tops. And so for me, I value education, and I think that the child is better served to actually be in the classroom than they are in the courtroom.
Yeah, because when you think about if they don't show up for court, then the situation doesn't go away. And a lot of the kids kind of think that, but some of the scenarios would lead to them not being able to drive.
Correct.
And also hurt them in being able to get jobs.
That is correct.
So this was a win-win scenario
Absolutely.
for the students as well as
Absolutely.
you guys. It was kind of a way of giving back.
Yes.
Yeah, and there was another pilot project that you guys did. This was recent, and it was funny because I remember reaching out saying, did you need me to make an announcement on the radio? And you said, you know, let's see how this first week goes. And my goodness, you did not need any help in advertising this, but you were allowing individuals to come to the courthouse to withdraw warrants and get their driver's license back. And
Correct.
I mean, the lines at the courthouse downtown were out the door and around the corner, literally. Talk about how that program was meant to help individuals as well.
Well, let me tell you first how we got started. We were trying to partner with Milwaukee County to do a safe surrender, and that wasn't coming to fruition, and that project had been worked on for almost 2 years. And so at some point I just said simply, we need to do this on our own. There are far too many warrants. Far too many license suspensions, and let's see what we can do to help. So let's just try it. And so that's why we called it a pilot project. But we all know that warrants and license suspensions can be a barrier to employment. And so we wanted to fix that. And like I said before, the 2 judges I work with are both like-minded on that issue. And so it was something we could all get on board with, and our entire staff was on board. We worked 12-hour days, 3 weeks straight. 3 Wednesdays straight, and nobody complained. And which is, you know, there's a lot to be said for that. But we are looking to do it again. So like I said, it was a pilot project when we did it in November. We're looking to do it again. This time we were actually going to bring it into the community. We're looking at having it at Greater New Birth Church. They're a partner. They've already agreed to host us. And so this time, though, what we're going to do is we're going to put an employment piece to it. So the goal would be to get your warrant lifted, get your driver's license suspension lifted, and have employers on site willing and ready to offer people jobs. Presenting
them with resources at the same time. I think it's a great idea, and needless to say, it was a success. So there's this election coming up.
13 days.
You're counting. And so,
not at all.
Well, actually, when this airs, it's going to be just a couple of days. So you definitely want people to get out, vote, and let their voice be heard. It's very important.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
And continued success with all that you do. Incumbent Valarie Hill is up for re-election for Milwaukee Municipal Judge Branch 1. And to find out more about Judge Hill and where she stands on the issues, you can visit valforjudge.com. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll meet Judge Hill's opponent, William Crowley, and we'll do that right after this.